Strap on your seatbelts because you are listening to Tech Vibe Pittsburgh is your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. And I'm your host, Jonathan Kersting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. I've been telling the stories of Pittsburgh's tech entrepreneurs for almost 3 decades now and having way too much fun along the way. Today, we are going to be nerding out with Jen Frazier, who is with Prequel Solutions. And under Jen's leadership, Prequel specializes in providing staffing and recruiting solutions across various sectors, including the likes of IT, engineering, finance, legal, and executive roles. And from their base in Washington County, Prequel extends its influence nationwide, adapting its approach to the evolving recruitment landscape out there. And what sets Prequel apart is its proprietary 3-meeting final assessment process. And this approach includes meeting candidates multiple times to ensure authenticity and compatibility with client needs, and addressing one of the industry's most pressing challenges, believe it or not, weeding out the rise of fake profiles in candidates. It's crazy stuff. Navigating the complexities of the tech and staffing world, Jen's story is both encouraging and I believe very instructive. Her journey really underscores the importance of adaptability, strategic innovation, and maintaining an optimistic outlook in the face of uncertainty. As Prequel continues to grow and redefine the staffing industry, Jen's leadership and vision remain an absolute beacon for aspiring entrepreneurs and industry vets alike out there, just to see how people get stuff done. So Jen, welcome to the show today. Very happy to have you here hanging out with me in the Huntington Bank studios. Yeah. It's one of the highlights of my life is what I love about working at the Tech Council. I get to come in pretty much every day and talk to our members who are building just awesome companies and solving tough problems and just making the ecosystem click. And you provide this very essential service like talent so our companies can work. So I'm so excited to learn your journey with Prequel and really more what Prequel does, because I think you're very different in the marketplace from a lot of the staffing companies that are out there. So thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's awesome to come and check out the studio, get to sit down and chat with you, and you have a ton of energy. So I'm super excited.
I like bringing the energy because I just get naturally fired up. I'll try to tune it back a little bit if I can, but I can't guarantee anything. But first and foremost, what's been your journey like in Pittsburgh's tech ecosystem? Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, so I'll start from the very beginning. I grew up in the Pittsburgh area, specifically Beaver County, and my journey's been interesting because I wanted to have a career in golf.
Golf?
I did,
Very cool, okay.
And then life just had something else planned for me.
It'll do that often.
Yeah, and I fell in love with the game, and I had big dreams, but life, like I said, just had a different direction for me. I ended up finishing college at Edinburgh University, right? And I think they changed the name to Penn West now.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Because they merged all those schools together.
They did.
Okay.
Finished college at Edinburgh, and then my first job right out of college was, believe it or not, recruiting attorneys for a mortgage closing company.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Waking up every day, really excited to go to work.
And so that's what started my journey in recruiting. But what happened is I ended up transitioning into IT. And stayed in IT for about 4 years. And the experience was amazing, right? I felt like it set the foundation for what I do today.
Okay.
And I found myself really missing the recruiting industry, the fast pace, people facing, connecting like good talent with good opportunities.
For sure, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to get back into the recruiting industry.
Okay.
And talk with my family and friends, and they're like, you're crazy.
Why would you do that?
Why would you get out of IT to go back into recruiting? Like, you're nuts. And I was like, yeah. So I followed my gut, which I often do, and it's never led me wrong. So got back into the recruiting industry, and it's funny because it was the end of 2008, 2009.
Oh my goodness.
The timing couldn't be more
Timing's
perfect.
just perfecto for that. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And took a position at a large publicly traded billion-dollar company and stayed there for about 14 years and was consistently in the top 4% of top performers in that company nationally.
Amazing. Wow. So this is definitely your thing.
It is.
Yeah. You trusted your gut.
Yeah. But the time that I made that transition, it was terrifying, right? The mortgage industry crashed
Oh,
and
yeah.
the economy is upside down. But
Just when you look back on it and you look at just how on the brink of complete disaster everything was, it's,
yeah,
oh my God.
yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah. And I was like, oh God, my friends and family are right. I should have never made the change, but it all ended up working out. And then in 2021, I had an opportunity to take a leadership role at Prequel
Gotcha.
and jumped on the opportunity. I had a very short window to turn the company around,
Whoa.
generate revenue.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
So there's like an inflection point going on here. And they're like, Jen, you're the person. And you're
yeah,
like, Jen, you're the person that did
yeah,
this, right?
yeah. So every so often, I find myself like taking these like big risks, right?
Oh, yeah, I like it.
I was really successful with that. After a few months, Dan Kane joined me. And in 2024, we ended up taking the company through an acquisition, bought out the rest of the equity. And it has been an amazing, incredible journey.
Wow. It's like under your full control now. How
Yeah,
awesome is
yeah,
that? That's like, woo.
yeah. And it just happened in 2024. And it
Right. I
feels like
mean,
a
this is
lifetime ago, but it was just last year.
exactly.
So,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness. Wow. So you've hit this new level,
yeah.
for lack of a better term. That's gotta be a really good feeling.
Amazing.
Yeah. At
Yeah.
the same
It's
time, oh my
and
gosh.
yeah, it comes with challenges,
Cool.
but yeah, it's been a great experience, a great ride.
Yeah.
It's been
So,
fun.
yeah, so tell me about Prequel. How many people are you? Like, you work just in Pittsburgh? You work around the country? Like, yeah. Tell us about Prequel.
Yeah, Prequel, we're a staffing, recruiting, and solution company. We have over 20 years of experience. Company's been around for over 20 years,
Right.
and we have a strong local presence in Washington County, but our office is actually located in South Point Business Park,
Absolutely.
but we also have a national presence and reach. So we work
Very
with
cool.
companies across the United States, and we specialize in IT, engineering, finance, legal, and key executive roles.
That's interesting because that's actually very diverse. I
It
mean,
is.
we talk about engineering and legal and stuff like that. So that to me, which is really cool, is if one's up and one's down,
Yeah.
you have a little more ballast on the ship there. So
Yeah.
you can ride out some of the crazy waves that we're always going to be riding
Yeah.
as far as that goes.
Yeah.
So it's never the same day twice then.
No.
You show
No.
up to Prequel in order to
Yeah.
help your customers.
Yeah. It's always something different. And one of the things is I think what our clients really appreciate is it's not just a one size fits all. We have a very tenured team, and I think our least tenured person has 10 years of
Oh,
experience.
that's amazing.
So it's very different, right? I'm building the company. I want to take a different approach. I want to be
Mhm.
better. And having that type of tenure on our team with expertise gives us the ability to be very consultative, right? And add strategic, be able to add value to clients, guide them, and add real value.
Definitely.
So,
So in the Pittsburgh area, I'm curious, where are you seeing the most traction right now? Who's hiring the most right now? And it's so funny because for a while, I know the hiring around tech was just crazy, but there's been some headwinds as well too. We've seen some people with some of the uncertainties, they're pulling back or moving their plans ahead to hire maybe to the next quarter or the next year or something like that. But any areas that you're seeing that they're popping out where you're like, whoa.
that's a great question, Jonathan. It is, I'm going to say, not necessarily, because we're in a unique time, right? The
Oh yeah.
change in
Oh,
administration, and
everything. Yeah.
one thing businesses don't like is uncertainty. I think you and I were talking about that, but
All day long.
there's just a ton of hesitation right now.
Mhm.
Well, I don't necessarily see an uptick in one industry over
Okay.
another. It's just everyone is waiting.
Yeah. They're waiting to see what settles out for
Yeah,
sure.
there's
Yeah.
some clients that we work with that have an amazing culture and they have
Mhm.
longevity and they have a lot of people that are retiring and
Okay.
or maybe they have grown through acquisition. So we
Right.
see a lot of need coming around. Hey, people are retiring or going through acquisition. We need
Right.
to diversify or add additional headcount.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's
So,
something that I do see at the Tech Council through our membership where I see some companies where they're just like, oh, we're looking for 50 engineers. And you're like, oh my gosh, okay, like this is great. And some folks are like, yeah, we needed these, but we're going to wait.
yeah,
And some of those, they just need them because no matter what's happening, they got to take care of business.
Yeah.
So they need to have the talent there.
yeah.
As far as it, no, what I think is really cool about some of the approaches that you take at Prequel is I want to talk about this a little because I think this is very unique. I've not seen this before. It is your 3 MFA. I like when there's an acronym going on here. And for our listeners out there, that is the 3 meeting final assessment that you guys do. And I think this is so cool.
It is.
In order to get the right talent, and to have it done in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
Because I know that when people bring talent on, there's always this like risk. You can have somebody that, checks all the boxes, but then they show up and this is just not a fit. And then it's a mess. You know what I'm talking
I
about.
do.
But I think this is really, can you walk me through how this works? Because I think this is something that might really set you guys apart.
Yeah,
That
it
people need to
does.
know about, because I feel like this is something that I think can help people just feel more comfortable through the process, knowing that the talent they're going to get is going to work out.
Yeah, it's it's funny because it's creative, right? And we took a play off of the 3 MFA, which traditionally stands for three multi-factor authentication. And I'm like, okay, thinking about that and fake profiles and fake candidates and the deep fake AI, that is on the rise. And it's been around for quite some time. I think our government put out a notice back in 2021 or 2022, making companies aware. And they just put one out at the beginning of this year. The FBI put out a notice to really be aware of the North Korean fake IT workers going into companies and stealing data.
Yeah, this
And
is
so
crazy. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
and
We got a great hire for you. They're going to take all your stuff
Right.
and send it to North Korea. Pay extra for that?
yeah,
Hi.
yeah, and it's to some of the generations that have been around a long time. You're like, what? It almost doesn't sound real, right?
Yeah, but it is. It's a
It
thing,
is.
and it can
It's
burn
it's a
people,
thing.
and absolutely.
Yeah. So our 3 MFA stands for 3 meeting final assessment.
Yeah.
And what we end up doing is making sure that we're meeting with candidates in person, face to face, video, and we're making sure that we have a 3 in-person meeting with them, the least. And what that does is it screens out candidates that aren't real, right? Fake candidates, fake identities. So that's what that stands for. So it's pretty, like I said, it's proprietary to us and the process that we
I
have
like
in
it. Yeah.
place.
No, and I also feel like, so does it also help kind of expedite as well, too, when it comes to sometimes when folks need to hire, especially, and maybe it's a little less now because it's not as competitive, but it's still really competitive out there, where if you didn't get an offer to somebody within a certain amount of time, they're just going to take someone else's offer because they would be oftentimes entertaining multiple offers. And so speed can be at the essence, but when there's speed, it also means you can make mistakes and not get that right fit.
That's a great point, because you do want to have speed, especially on the contracting side of the house when
Right.
companies need temporary staff
Yeah,
or a
they got a
contractor to
project
come
that has a
in.
deadline, so they're looking to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you got to move fast, especially if you're competing with other firms out
of
there.
course.
And I think that's where a lot of the other firms fall short,
Okay.
because you're speeding through the process. You're
Mhm.
not doing your due diligence of making sure the candidate is authentic, real, and you could misstep
Yeah.
and cause a company and your company a lot of money.
Oh, it's a big deal. It is something I would lose a lot of sleep over on a
Yeah.
regular basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't just rely on one interview and a gut feeling
No.
anymore,
I
especially
want
when you're
biometric scans.
So, give me a sample of your DNA.
Exactly. We want to know what's going on here for you. How are you? Simple as that. So something else that you do that I think is really, this is something that I think can really bring a lot of clarity when people are hiring, because I see this a lot at the Tech Council once again, is looking at what the real compensation levels are.
Yeah.
The Tech Council back in the day, we used to put out an actual compensation survey, and people would be like, but these numbers are in other markets, these numbers are wildly higher. And especially now in a day and age when people are hiring folks to work who can work remotely. So you could be living in Seattle thinking that you're making Seattle wages when you're
Yeah.
working for a company in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and something like that. And so the idea that you actually work with them on benchmarking, so you can really understand what the true costs are going to be.
Yeah.
And once again, be competitive, because if you're 5-10 grand or whatever it is, like under, someone's just not even going to apply for it. And so how do you work with them on that?
I feel like the recruiting and staffing industry go hand in hand with that.
Okay.
Because one, we work with companies across the
Yeah.
United States.
You got the front row seat across
Right.
everything, and there's this range. If you're
Right.
going to be like in IT, you're going to be, if you're working in IT, that's going to be this. If you're
Right.
Okay.
It comes in, we'll come in, and again, we're very strategic, consultative when it comes to having that service and being able to provide that to clients on the consulting side. So going through that, being very thorough, right? Making sure candidates are a good fit culturally from a technical standpoint as well.
Okay.
And Prequel also offers, which is a little bit different and not the industry norm or benefits package that we offer to consultants. We have a full suite of benefits, but on the consulting side, our retention rate is for 2024 it was 97%.
Wait, back
Retention.
up. Back up. 97%. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a number that says you're doing something right.
Yep.
That's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. And that's something
Yeah.
that obviously it's like something where you can build on that, right?
Yeah.
And that's something where that's working. You can really hammer home on that. And that's such a great selling point.
Yeah.
Because I'm always amazed, like when companies have to hire a lot of people, I'm always like, oh my goodness, just to find them. And then you can get them rowing the boat in the right direction. And having that first foundational step, knowing that our role of the company like Prequel, that I'm going to get these right people.
Yeah.
Your 97% shows that it's working. That's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you have to be very excited about 2025. Despite all the craziness that we're all experiencing, the only thing that makes me feel not so crazy is that we're all experiencing some of the craziness right now. So there's safety in numbers.
It gives you some comfort,
It
right?
gives some comfort. Hey, we're all suffering together here. But I'm always very bullish on the fact that Pittsburgh is so tough and resilient. We always work our way through things. And how are you looking at 2025 coming ahead? Obviously, you came through a big year of taking Prequel under your belt there and taking the full leadership and rolling out. What do you want to do in 2025?
I'm always a hopeless entrepreneur, right?
Love it.
I'm always optimistic and I just have a positive outlook, right? In 2025, we want to double the company. So,
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
Very cool.
I think it's doable with everything that we have going on. And clients come back to us all the time and want to give recommendations and say, how can I help? My experience with Prequel has been amazing.
Great.
And that just says that we're doing the right thing. Right?
Love it. No, that's fantastic. This is one of the, I love these kind of stories. I love someone that you work in this industry, you have the ability to keep stepping up, then opportunity comes for you to take this thing over. You've been a year into it and you're saying, yeah, I think we're going to double next year. Like, all right, that's cool. I love that. I think that's fantastic. Now, earlier on in the conversation, you mentioned your passion for golf.
Yeah.
And you tell me about your passion for golf and how you still pursue that to this day. And obviously, you're very much affiliated with some things going on here in Pittsburgh with Diamond Run, I heard. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, so I've been a member at Diamond Run Golf Club for 13 years. And this year I'm on the board of governors. I'm the president of the board of governors. So it's been really fun.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And what is it about golf that just gets you fired up? Obviously, this is a passion of yours. Is there something you can say, this is what gets me fired up about
You
it?
can't hide from it.
Okay.
It's just you.
Yeah.
So you compete against yourself for the most part. And you really get to learn a lot about people if you play a round of golf with them. Are they honest? Are they cheating?
Exactly.
But besides that, it is a great networking tool. It builds confidence. And I just really fell in love with the game early on. And it's just golf has done a lot for a lot of people.
Very much. I'm glad you didn't say that like, I haven't played in forever. Because sometimes people give something up for whatever reason and they can't do it. But I'm glad to hear that you're very active with what was one of the original passions of your life. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. I won the Women's Golf Club Championship last year.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I like it.
So I'm really active with playing golf, but
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't thank you enough for your time hanging out with me. I just love the story, but Prequel's up to. We got, of course, your website and stuff in our description and liner notes if people want to learn more about you and everything like that. I always tell everybody, don't be afraid to reach out to my guests because Pittsburgh's such a friendly town. Hit you on LinkedIn and talk because people sometimes are afraid to make that first step to be like, they know they need help with something. I'm like, give Jen a ring. Simple as that. So
I appreciate it, Jonathan. It's been great.
Fun stuff all the way around. You're the best. One of these companies that's making Pittsburgh proud. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Hey, in case you forgot, this is Jonathan Kersting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. If you want content like this, getting your front row seat to Pittsburgh's tech and innovation ecosystem, just keep on following us. And believe me, we'll keep sending you tons of great stories.